Hello, we are going to do another what we're having for dinner this week video. I am Julie. I am the mom to 8, so there's 10 of us here eating. Lydia's the baby. I'm actually pregnant, so she won't be the baby come May. But she is right now. So we've got 10 people eating, and this week we are really going to be going through our freezers. We were given some unique produce items. The biggest one is 50 pounds of cabbage. So you are going to be seeing some cabbage in this week's videos. We also were given a deer, so we have a lot of venison. So tonight's dish is cabbage and venison, surprise. So I chopped up half of a cabbage. And I also chopped up an onion. I started first with some oil in the pan and sauteed the onion. And then after it was starting to turn golden, I added the chopped cabbage, and I am sauteing all of that. Sometimes I'll put in a little water too to steam it to help it soften, and then finish it out with some butter or oil, whatever you like to fry with. Then I also have ground venison that I cooked, and I mixed in a little bit of tomato paste in that just to give it some extra flavor, and I'm just tossing that all together and making it like a one-dish meal. It's really flavorful. Any type of ground meat, I usually do it with ground beef, but any type of ground meat with the sauteed cabbage is very tasty. For kids who need it dressed up a little bit because they're not thrilled with the idea of meat and cabbage, I let them sprinkle some just grated cheese on top. So tonight for dinner we are having sourdough pizza. This is really simple recipe. So I fed my sourdough starter before lunch, and it's just been kind of bubbling away all afternoon, and now I have pizza stones, baking stones, which you could do this. I know Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone, she's the person that I got this recipe from first, and she's been doing them just in her cast iron skillet on her stove. So there's many ways to do this. I happen to have a couple baking stones. Uh-oh, who wants to hold a fussy baby? Me. Oh, thank you. She does it that way. She's also done it in the oven. I happen to have a couple baking stones, and so I turn my oven on really hot. It's on 400 degrees, I think. And I put those baking stones in the oven. I'm going to get them nice and hot because you're going to pour your sourdough starter right on the baking stones. And it starts to cook like as soon as it hits. You're going to just cook those until they're nice and crispy done. Some of my kids like them a little doughier, so I like to do some that are really crispy and some that are less. And then as soon as that's done, you're just going to top it with whatever toppings you pick. So I'm keeping it super simple tonight. I have ground venison, you know that's the thing this week. I cooked it, just browned it in a skillet, and it smells really good. I added a little bit of tomato paste for flavor. That helps with that venison flavor. And then I added garlic powder and some basil, salt.
Lydia likes it.
What else? I think that's all. I mix that up, and that's going to be my topping, and then I have grated cheese. So super simple tonight. It's just Jason is out with a friend, so it's just the kids and I. I'm going to cook those crusts. As soon as they're done, I'm going to layer it with the meat and sprinkle cheese on top and stick it back in the oven just until it's melted, and that will be it. That'll be dinner tonight. We have lots of random veggies and fruits, so that'll be on the side. It's just going to be a simple evening meal. Dinner tonight is something that I call hamburger soup because I used ground burger in it. I had some burger already cooked. It's actually not beef, it is venison. And so this soup was super simple to put together. I just chopped up an onion, a few carrots, and I sauteed those in some oil. And then, thank you, Leo.
Pepper, go.
And then I added chopped cabbage, of course, you know, it's all about the cabbage these days. I added half of a can of tomato paste for some flavor. It was a big can, not one of those little cans, but a full, what are those, 16-ounce cans. Added half of that can of tomato paste. I didn't have any broth made, and so I just filled my pot up with water. And then I threw in that, after that had been simmering for a while to soften, I threw in the burger meat that was already cooked, and I added some seasonings. I threw in some cumin, a little bit of paprika, I had some basil, and salt and pepper. So I just threw that all in to taste. Sorry for all the noise. Sorry for all the noise. My little guys are having fun. I just threw all of that in the pan and let it just sit there and simmer until we were ready to eat. So super easy, simple soup. Good evening. We have a little ping pong game going on tonight. I am making another soup tonight. It's a cold evening and we actually were given a bunch of squash. Our neighbor, I've talked about him before, he is an organic farmer and there is, when the weather turns to freezing temperatures, he's basically going to lose squash in his field, and so we got a bunch. I have been simmering beef bones all day long. They cooked down to this. It was all the way up to there, as you can see, and it just has cooked all the way down. It's going to be delicious. In a separate pan, I sauteed some onions that are down at the bottom. I just sauteed those in some butter, and now I'm chopping up butternut squash and throwing it on top, and I'm going to strain this broth into here and then start adding some other vegetables. We'll see what I come up with as I go along.
James!
I found some little zucchinis in the refrigerator that needed to be eaten, so I peeled and chopped those. I'm going to put in a can of tomato sauce just for some flavor, some yellow sweet corn. I'm just going to throw that in now so it can start to cook. And then I'm going to throw in some leftover meat that we have and add some seasonings. My go-to is kind of like salt and pepper, of course, and then something like cumin, or I'll put in some type of oregano or basil. I kind of just do the same thing. Sometimes I'll throw paprika in. And maybe some garlic powder. We like that. Actually, I have some fresh garlic too. I'll chop that up and throw that in as well. Okay, I wanted to quickly show you the final product. So I took my immersion blender and I did a little bit of blending because I thought it might help some people. And then I added a cup of cream in, and I don't remember if I told you that I added rice as well. So it's kind of like a thick stew, and it's very, very delicious. And then I made some sourdough crackers in the oven. I just took some of my sourdough discard, and it was 3/4 cup to 2 tablespoons of melted butter and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So you multiply that as many times as you want. I had enough for a double batch, and I put them on this hot baking stoneware pan in a 375-degree oven. They've been in there for about 35 minutes maybe, and I sprinkled them with salt, cut them halfway through.